Welcome to the show. It's so much great pleasure that I have to be here with you again, visiting with you wherever you're watching the show from. I am Joe Abbas Bangura. It's a brand new year that we all have been ushered into, and I'm meeting you for the first time, so pardon me to say Happy New Year to you, wherever you're watching this from. Big question at the top of the show that we're going to be looking at today is when people ask you at the beginning of the year, a common question would be just your forecast for the year. What is this year going to be like for you? What do you see this year becoming like for you? And the way you answer this question will tell me a lot about you. That's what we're going to be talking about today on the show. And finishing well starts with beginning well. How the year ends for you starts with how you start and begin the year. Stay with us.
More and more people are using Rokel SimCopper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Rokel SimCopper. Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Rokel SimCopper Plus now. You can download the Rokel SimCopper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Wondering how to activate your AfriMoney account? It's easy. Dial *161*8*3#. Enter your default PIN or old PIN and press send. Enter your new PIN and press send. Enter your new PIN again. You'll receive a message confirming your PIN change. AfriMoney. Fast, easy, safe.
Welcome back. If you ask people the question that I just asked earlier, what's this year going to be like for you? What do you see this year going to be like for you? The two categories of people giving two categories of answers. The first category of people those are the people who believe with all their heart and maybe all sincerity that what controls their life and their destiny is not in here, it's not in their power, it's not in their control, that there's so many things out there that would control the way the direction their life would go, and therefore their response would be to externalize stuff, to say, well, nobody knows what the future would hold, therefore what this year will turn out to be is not in my hands. And so they will tell you, Ultimate Guardian, we're very spiritual people, and so we'll tell you, Ultimate Guardian, nobody not able to know what's going to happen to our lives. There are so many uncertainties that people say we have in life, and they'll tell you, you can't therefore predict what the year is going to be like. But that's the first set of people. And keep this in your head, because I'm going to ask this question again. Like I said, how you answer this question will tell me a lot about you. What's the second category of people? The second category of people are people who, when you ask the question, somehow they know that they themselves have a major role to play to design where their life is going to, the direction that their life is going to be going. And therefore, that's why we call the show and the fundamentals under the show that's been driving it is, it's a life by design. It's a life that you are involved in designing. So the second set of people believe we have a part to play. We have a role to play to design and shape the direction of our lives. Therefore, they would begin to tell you what they think the year is going to be like, and what they share would be along a couple of stuff that they've already planned for their lives. So they may have financial goals, they may have spiritual goals, they may have health and fitness goals that's already been designed, they may have relationship goals, etc., etc., etc. They would answer this question with plans that they have for themselves for the year, because you have a huge role to play in how your life ends up. That's what we're going to be looking at. That's why I said just now, I can tell a lot where The two people who end up in life, ones that believe their life is not in the choices they make every day, decisions they make every day, it's due to external forces. That means whatever is going to happen to them is things they don't have control over. It's like a boat in a sea with no oars, no propeller, nothing to guide the boat, and the boat is just at the mercy of the elements of the sea. The wind blows this way, the boat goes there. Whichever direction the wind blows, that's where the boat would go. You don't want your life to be that way. The economy goes up, it goes up with your life. The economy comes down, it comes down with your life. The exchange rate goes up, it goes up with your life. You don't want your life to be this way. So, but what's the dividing line? What is it that ultimately, at the end of the day, draws the line and determines where people end up? Again, I've already hinted to you that this is basically what's the dividing line for people. People who believe, some believe internally, I have control over my life. And some believe, no, I don't. It's called, in a social science, it's called locus of control, where, the first set of people think, I control my destiny, and the other guy thinks, no, they control my destiny. It's not me who control my destiny. It's they that control my destiny. One has internal locus of control. The other guy has external locus of control. People who have internal locus of control believe that they are responsible for their own success. People who have external locus of control believe other people, circumstances, events outside them are responsible for their future. And so they will tell you that external forces like luck and other things determine the outcomes of their life. A big question I'd like to ask you at this stage: what is most responsible for success in your life? Something within here. How much is down to you, and how much is outside to forces over which you have no control? Very important question, because like I said, that's the dividing line. What I want you to know as we start another fresh year, what will determine where you end up this year? Finishing well begins with starting well. What is that starting point? So that's what I want to nail today. There are two major points I want to nail that would really determine where you end this year. Finishing well starts with beginning well. What's the beginning? Now, 2 points I'm going to make. The first one is that finishing well is first of all a mentality. It is first of all a mentality. And the mentality says, I am in charge of my life. It's first a mentality. Where you end up this year is first a mentality. Failure and success in life, it's a matter of a mentality. That's the major difference amongst people who succeed in life and people who fail in life. Major difference. It's down to their mentality. So it's first a mentality. And why do I say this? Let's break it down. Because the first thing you say, amongst other things, I'm a pastor and would have a nation that is full of religious people. There are Christians, there's Muslims. And the first thing people would think, once you say, I am in charge of my life, people think you're blaspheming. No, it's blasphemy. Your life cannot be in your hand. God is in charge of your life. God has control of your life. And so people will think you blaspheme if I say, it's first of all a mentality. The mentality says, I am in charge of my life. Let's look at the Christian scriptures and see what it says. Those in the Christian faith, I'll refer you to Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. And he reads, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. This is the Christian scriptures. It says, man, take dominion. If you do not have dominion, it's because you have not been taken it, but you have been given dominion. It's one thing to give, it's the next thing to take. It's first a mentality. Success in life and how you end this year is first of all a mentality. It's a thinking, and that thinking says, I am in charge. There's another scripture, biblical scriptures that says, a man reap what he sows. A man reap what he sows. A man reap what he sows. The results you would generate at the end of this year is in direct proportion to what you have sowed in the year. Life is not a magic. There is a concurrent cause and effect relationship in life that we all have to deal with to be able to make sure our future is predictable by design. So let's talk about those of us in the Islamic faith. It says in Surah 35:39 that Allah has given all humans dominion over other creatures. Dominion over creatures. This extends to everything. The most powerful things are the creatures. Every other inanimate things, we have dominion by extension. And he says he has made them. He has made humans vice regents on the earth. Now you have those, in a traditional settings where you have a regent chief, is a chief that is in charge, has delegated authority, albeit for maybe temporary moment. But when you say vice regent, you're talking about somebody who has delegated authority to act. Delegated authority. Starts with a mentality. The mentality says, you are in charge. Can we go to science? Now we've looked at the Islamic Christian religion, we look at Islamic religion, and now let's go to science. So science deals with cause and effect, and it's all over. It's all over the place. It's the fundamental basis of science, predictability of things. And we have the law of cause and effect. All around us, there's evidence of man's control that's driving every field. Where it's talk about agriculture, if you plant this much quantity of seeds, based on past results and evidences, they can predict what the yield per year is going to be. It's science. It's not down to anything. If it could be, every once in a while you have a breach, weather conditions and stuff, but you don't build a law on the basis of an exception. If you plant X, you reap X. If you plant Y, you reap Y. And based on the evidence, on the science, you could predict what a yield is going to be based on a level of input that you make to what you do. So whether it's agriculture, it's engineering, it's law, what's bringing this broadcast, this show to you is all science, from the cameras we use to the microphones we use to the light. Predictability, it's programmed. If you look at the camera is all programmed. It has stuff and gadgets. You move it this way, you want to zoom, come closer to me, there's something you do. It's all science. It's cause and effect. Law. What's the law? It's based on precedent. The law is based on, a predictable set of rules and value systems that are used. Once a precedent is set, except it is changed, it's used consistently. Predictability in life, so that you begin the year, you have to have a sense of where this year is going to end on the basis of certain parameters that you set for yourself. Talk about accounting. Double entry, there's debit, there's credit. To every debit, there's a corresponding credit, the golden law of accounting. If you did not have predictability in stuff, where would we be going? And so therefore, that's what I'm saying. You are in charge. There are laws of nature. There are ways that have been designed as to how life works. If you align yourself with those principles, you benefit from the results of your alignment. But if you violate those principles, you would feel the brunt of your violation of those principles. That's the first point I want to be able to make today. Where you end up this year is so much in your hands than even you would imagine. Finishing well this year begins with starting well, and one of the fundamentals in starting well is to fundamentally, from this day onwards, to know I am in charge. There's agency. Unless you take responsibility for your life would be thrown to the elements, thrown to circumstances, and you don't want, that's not what you mean. I told you already reference the Christian references, we've had Islamic references, and we have reference to science. You are in charge. And that's the first reality. You have to be able to make sure you can predict how this year goes for you. I'd like to read something I have here that says, the results we get in life are not by accident. Success and failure are ultimately the cumulative effect of little choices and decisions and actions we take on a daily basis. I want to repeat again. The results we get in life are not by accident. Success and failure are ultimately the cumulative effect of the little choices, the decisions and actions we take on a daily basis. I could spend a whole broadcast just going through things that are now in my life that were things I saw 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. I said I needed this. I discovered what I needed to do to get them to happen. They are now reality in my life. Daily choices. Daily little choices have created what you're seeing today. I've created Joe Abbas. I've created the show. I've created the brand. I've created the man that is Joe Abbas. It's little choices on a daily basis that have created that. And so therefore, my closing verdict in that, he says, we are more responsible for what happens to us in life than we think. You are more responsible for what happens to you this year than you think. Think about it for a moment. I'll just pause for a moment and just allow you to drink this in. You are more responsible for what happens to you in life than you think. Finishing well begins with starting well. And starting well begins with a mentality. And that mentality, the first is a mentality. It's first a mentality. The mentality says you are in charge. You have to realize how much role you have to play to determine where your life goes. When I come back, we'll look at the second pillar in this formula of what it takes to create the year of your dreams. Stay with us.
This is The Unbeatable, with a special message to every data user in Sierra Leone. Dial *499# now from your AfriCell line for the fastest internet and cheapest data bundles ever. It is the Unbeatable Data Bundles, where we go. No one has the speed to follow.
More and more people are using Rokel SimCopper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Rokel SimCopper.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Rokel SimCopper Plus now. You can download the Rokel SimCopper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe, and reliable.
Welcome back. We're looking at how you could finish this year in a predictable way. You could get this year to be so much predictable for you that you could look at the year, you look at the results you want, and now know this is how I want this year to end. It's not just nobody not gonna know it did a God in hand and blah 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 and things like that, which is just in tradition, in superstition, and everything that we've been told that is completely and totally wrong. To be able to get to the point where, first of all, it's a mentality. The mentality says, I'm in charge. You've been made to be in charge. You've been given dominion. You've been given authority. Take charge. That's the first point. The second point, it's first a mentality. It's then a strategy. It's then a strategy. So there's an awareness that you have now to say, okay, all right, I agree, I'm in charge. So, but how do I bring the life of my dreams, the future of my dreams, the academics of my dreams, the financial life of my dreams, the relationship life of how do I bring it to pass? It's then a strategy. First of all, is to believe you can influence that. Secondly, it's a strategy. What does it take for businesses to succeed? I am a businessman. I am an entrepreneur. I am a serial entrepreneur. And I see it every day in the businesses I run, the businesses we've built, over the last 20 years, I've been involved in building businesses. Businesses are run on a fundamental basis of predictability. That means at the beginning of the year, there's no way you could go to your board of directors and tell them, what is the year going to be like for this business? And they will tell you, well, there's so much uncertainty. We don't know how this year is going to be, what the business is going to be like for this year. So we'll put an Agonian. A business, you can get fired overnight. As a CEO for the business, you could get fired overnight. Because it's not the waves in the sea. It's your ability to say, I want to go to Banff. The sea is going to be rough, but I know I have navigation equipment in my boat. I know I have everything that is going to be to take to get there. I may be off course 95% of the time, and it's happened with plane. When the plane takes off here to go to Brussels, to go to England and places, 95% of the time it's off course. And so the elements, the wind, and everything is pushing it off path. But they have a navigation equipment that says, this is where I want to go. And each time it goes off, they bring it back online. Each time it goes off, they bring it back online. That's how 5 hours later they'll land in Brussels. Not because there were no wind and stuff, and circumstances and things out there that would have put it off course. No, it's then a strategy. It's then a strategy. That's how it with businesses. You begin at the beginning of the year, you have a plan as a business. This is what we want to do. There's so many things about the economy you don't know. When we planning, who knew that you would have COVID? Who knew that the exchange rate was going to tumble, in 2022 in a huge way in the country? Who knew about that? Nobody. Did business still plan? Yes, they planned. And when you have those turbulences happening, what do? You fight on, and that's what we're going to talk about. So it's first of all a mindset, then it's a strategy. So what businesses do to be able to make sure, businesses do maybe 4 things to be able to make sure they can get predictable results. And those things are, number 1, clarity. They have clarity of the goals they want to achieve. What goals do we want to achieve this year? We've talked about this in the past, and we could go deeper. But then once they know this is the clarity we want to have on revenues, our revenue, we want to grow our revenue by 20%. We want to grow our customer base by 30%. They have it clear at the beginning of the year. Even where I sit now, I have been involved in businesses that I'm involved in building at the beginning of the year, having a plan. There's a 3-year plan that we're working on, and there's clarity. We have measurements. 3 years down the line is so far off, but we still have to plan with clarity. This is where we want to go. This is where we want to see ourselves. That's how businesses do. And that's how businesses increase the predictability of their life so that it's not left at the elements, at the whims of the elements. Goal clarity, number 1. Number 2, they design an action plan. This is where we want to go. This is how we think we're going to get there. An action plan. So they break down what is going to be needed, how many staff they need to hire, do they need to build a new branch, do they need to buy in some equipment, do they need to, whatever it is, an action plan is laid down as to how to achieve that goal. It's a strategy. Then they take action. The budget has been approved. Action. Put in the order for the equipment. Put out stuff in newspaper to recruit the staff that you need. It's a strategy. Then you take action. And then you monitor your results, and then you could take corrective measures. So it's 4 things businesses do. They have goal clarity. Number 2, they have an action plan to achieve the goal. Number 3, they take action every day. Then they monitor the actions. They monitor the results and take corrective measures. How do they monitor the results? Sometimes it's daily, on a daily basis. You have data that is released for businesses on a daily basis. I want to be able to see these numbers. I want to see how many sales we made today. On a daily basis, they measure and they monitor the results. And so this is how businesses are able to predict the results they get. Lots of uncertainties, turbulences, and things they can't anticipate. But when they happen, corrective measures. When they happen, they adjust. And so that's why it is unconscionable that individuals would not have the same mentality. It's the same rules it takes for personal success. Like I shared to you just now. It's the same rules. That's what I've applied all my life. That is what has created what you're now seeing. I could take a whole show to just give you examples of things that exist now that were only in my mind, and the way I brought them to pass, first of all, is to believe I am in charge. You've heard my story about how I made the transition from a 22-year-old school dropout But then you realize I'm in charge. It's not just because my parents were illiterate and never went to school. No, I'm in charge. I made some stupid decisions that got me to where I am. I'm in charge. I am in charge. That changed my life. That changed my life. But then, once it's a mentality, then it's now a strategy. What strategy do you have to now put in place? I had to work out the strategy and work at it all the time. In our business now, our Life by Design, it's strategy. We've laid out our strategy for the year. We'll finalize the business plan for the year. We have weekly SLT meetings, senior leadership team meetings. We've divided how we are tracking it into, we have rocks, we have scorecards, and we have something that is at the bottom there, to-dos. And then we have issues. We have a template that we follow every meeting, every week. Every week after the meeting, new action plans are designed to chase, to follow up. Every week. Imagine what would be the success rate for individuals who would just copy and model what it takes for businesses to succeed and apply it in their personal life. It's the same principle. And I've shared this, and I will continue to pound this for the rest of the year as we build. Because, of course, now lots and lots of testimonies. We're going to be sharing those testimonies this year of people who have gone through the same path with goal clarity, an action plan, and taking action on those things, and monitoring results, and making time to just review, and taking corrective measures as they go along to be able to create. That's the only way you could get to the point in time where you could be in January at the beginning of the year and have a sense of where the end of the year would be like for you, December. That's what it's meant to be. There has to be that predictability that you have to have in your life, rather than stay with, well, all things are Godian, and God no more know. What if God wants you to know? Well, just one moment. Well, now God no more know. What if God wants you to know? And again, what we just said now is something that we've made clear that, in fact, that's what God wants. That's what your Creator wants. They says God made you, it's Bishop Oyedepo that said God made you and gave man a brain so that we would allow him to rest. A lot of the things we pray to God for are things that are in the domain of what we should do. In domain of what we are to do for ourselves. And then we pound the gates of heaven endlessly. And once you mix those things up, those things that are in your domain and those things that are in the domain of the Creator, and if you mix them up, then there's a problem. You're trying to do what God is supposed to do, and now wanting God to do what you're supposed to do for yourself. It's mixed up. It's a mix-up, and that's a serious problem. So that's why we're going to be able to work with you right through this year. Again, to make sure we build more lives by design, and to make sure you can create the year to predict what this year is going to be like for you, because finishing well begins with starting well. I want to close with two quotes from Peter Drucker and Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. The best way to predict 2023 is to create it. The best way to predict this year is to create it. Create the year you want to see. And Peter Drucker said the best way to predict your future is to invent it. You create the future, you invent it. How about that? You have a comment to make, just put it down below. There, you're watching this on YouTube, just put your comments down and we'll make sure we respond to that. Otherwise, our numbers are there on the screen. You could contact us, reach out to us. Thanks to our sponsors, AfriCell and Local Commercial Bank, and the group of companies, LBD, that are behind this show. We say thank you very much for everything that you've been to us all of these years. We march on again 2023 to make sure we can all grow together and create the life of our dreams, our lives by design. Till next time, on behalf of the crew, keep designing that life. God bless you.